With Liverpool and Manchester City now both doubling in game week 25, I thought today I'd put together the ultimate wildcard to attack those double game weeks. If you have been living under a rock and haven't seen the news about the double game weeks, Liverpool and Luton are joining Manchester City and Brentford with a double in game week 25. And it's very good stuff. It looks very, very tasty indeed. And that is going to be the key kind of epicenter of where our team is going to be focused on for this game week 24 wildcard. Everything is pretty much going to be focused around these double game weeks, getting the best out of them as possible. Before we do get into the wildcard team today, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 5,000 subscribers on the channel, and it would be absolutely amazing if we could do that before the end of the season. Wasting no time and diving straight into our wildcard draft, we are going to talk about our goalkeeper, and it is going to be Dubravka from Newcastle United. The fixtures coming up for Newcastle, pretty decent. Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Arsenal, Wolves, and Chelsea. On the bench as well, we do have Areola as our kind of alternative rotating goalkeeper. He did leave the West Ham game at half-time against Manchester United, but it did look like a concussion substitution, so should be available for game week 24 and all other future game weeks as well. And it does look like Turner has lost his place, so this is probably the best and the cheapest goalkeeper pairing. I think Ederson also could be a good shout with the doubles coming up for Manchester City. Very strong defence, but I think I would prefer to go for some other City players over Ederson. Moving straight into the back line, we do have Konate. He has been playing very consistently and very regularly over the past few weeks. 4.9 million for him. It gets you into that Liverpool defence. Burnley at home in game week 24. Great fixture. You would imagine Liverpool should keep a clean sheet there. Then obviously they do have the double with Brentford and Luton as well. Trent Alexander-Arnold is back in the squad. I am filming this video just about 5 minutes before kickoff, so I do want to go and watch that game and see how Trent performs. I do think there might be the option to potentially swap the next player for Trent Alexander-Arnold and maybe go for a cheaper player like Botman, but we will come on to talk about that. But yeah, Konate, he's been playing 90 minutes pretty consistently for the past few weeks. 4.9 million, so if you do need a cheap route into that Liverpool defence, I think Konate could be the man that you go for. Moving on to our next defender, and it is going to be Kieran Trippier. Obviously back amongst the attacking returns yesterday, despite Newcastle drawing that game 4-4. Still managed to come away with 9 points. Like we spoke about with Dubravka, the fixtures are very strong for Newcastle United. The other thing as well, if you were to go for Kieran Trippier, maybe if Trent has a really good game, he could come in. Then it could obviously go to Botman. That was obviously the plan that I had. I think if you wanted to go for Trent Alexander-Arnold, if he does impress and perform extremely well today, that potentially could be the route. But for now, we are going with Trippier. I want to see how Trent performs first before putting him into a wildcard draft. So we have gone for Kieran Trippier. Very solid performance from him yesterday. Like I said, back amongst the attacking returns with some very positive fixtures coming up for Newcastle United. Moving on to our final defender, and one I imagine a lot of people haven't really spoken about, well, in terms of like the more general population of the kind of FPL community. It is going to be Doherty from Luton. Now he's in here and you might be thinking, what the hell is this man in here? He has been very, very consistent over the past 5 to 6 game weeks, picking up attacking returns, clean sheets. Luton's form as well has been stupendous over the past couple of weeks, really since the turn of the new year. Home fixtures as well for Luton as well, very, very good, very consistent at home this season. Away from home, a little bit more questionable, but the main reason he's in here, obviously has the double in 25 with Manchester United and Liverpool. So not great, but it is a double. We'll take that. The United fixture being at home as well, so maybe could get an assist or at least something out of that. Then in game week 24, as you can see, Sheffield United at home. Very, very good fixture for them. You would imagine Luton should come away with all 3 points in that one. Sheffield United do look like they are bound for the Championship. Luton seems to be picking up a little bit of impressive form, starting to get some positive results as way at home and away from home as well, and I think Doherty, just a really good shout at 4.5 million. Another double game week player for 25. Like I said, this whole draft is built about kind of maximising the best game week 25 talent that you can get. Maybe you want to use your triple captainship in that week. This potentially could be the team for you. Right, let's move on into the midfield. We're going to start off with Diogo Jota. Now, he is currently playing, like I said, at the time of recording, so I can't really comment on his performance in game week 23, but as a whole, since returning from injury, has been impressive. If you look at his per 90 data, it is absolutely ridiculous. I think it was like 1.17, something ridiculous, like in terms of goals and assists per 90, which is absolutely insane for a player of his quality. With Salah as well, obviously the injury update, he is kind of back on the grass, still individual training, not with the team yet. So I think game week 25, or at least the first game, might be a little bit too close. I don't think Liverpool as well are in a position where they need to rush him back straight into that first team. So I think Diego Jota, the form that he's in, the way that he's playing, I think he could remain in that side, even if Mohamed Salah is back for game week 25. But that would probably skew things up a little bit with this wildcard draft. But at the moment, Diego Jota's in there. I think he's a really good asset. I'm going to try and get him in my team for game week 24, and I think you potentially should do as well if you are looking to hit that wildcard button. Next in our midfield is a man yet to play. It is Kevin De Bruyne. Again, super impressive since his return. Obviously that 20-minute cameo against Newcastle United, where he did obviously pick up a lot of kind of accolades, if you like, you know, a lot of plaudits towards his performance there. Obviously went and backed that up as well with an assist against Burnley at home. Now obviously Everton at home in game week 24, you would imagine very comfortable performance for Manchester City. Obviously has the double as well, which is great. Chelsea at home, Brentford at home, then Bournemouth in game week 26 as well. So a very, very strong fixture. United and Liverpool after that, so probably going to have to do a little bit of rejigging to get these City players back out after that. But I do think KDB is definitely a player you want to have for double game week 25. Still yet to play in game week 23. We'll see how they get on against Brentford on Monday night. But definitely for me, KDB, a player I would absolutely be gagging to have in my team for that double game week. Moving on to a man who just can't stop scoring at the moment. I think it's 9 goals in his past 8 games. It is Richarlison. He is absolutely flying. Brighton and Wolves up next. Again, 2 very good fixtures where you would imagine he could get himself on the score sheet. And just currently, he's just getting the best out of him, isn't he? A brace against Everton. What can he do against the Brighton defence, who I think have only kept 2 clean sheets so far this season? Definitely feel like Spurs could score in that one. Wolves at home as well. I don't really know what to make of Wolves. Obviously, they beat Chelsea today, but then they'll probably go and get a weird rogue result. Seems defensively as well, they can be got at, and I definitely think Richarlison could be one of those players. Like I said, he's just picking up goals for fun at the moment, and a player I just feel you have to have in your team. Moving on to our final midfielder, and it is going to be Phil Foden. Again, with this double game week coming up for Manchester City, I do favour Foden over the likes of Alvarez or a City defender. I think at times he can be very, very good and he can cook. Obviously, there is a bit of a minutes concern around the double game week, whether or not he's going to play. That is the big issue. But for me, I think the performances that he's been putting in and the attacking returns that he has been getting, I do think he's definitely worth keeping around for game week 24 and obviously for game week 25. Right, let's move on to our front line. Obviously, we're going to have Erling Haaland in here. Pep's comments before game week 23 did start. It did sound like he is back and in contention to start games again, which is very good for us. We do like to see that. Obviously, like I said, still yet to play in game week 23, so we'll see how he gets on tomorrow night, whether or not he plays, whether or not, you know, he's fully fit and available. This would probably be one of the big reasons. If I didn't have a clear strategy to get back to Haaland and I wanted to use that triple captainship in game week 25, then I think I would be hitting that wildcard button just to go and get this man in, because if he is fit and available, his per 90 data is absolutely ridiculous. I think it's 0.96 goals per 90, so he's nearly averaging a goal every 90 minutes, which is absolutely insane for any footballer. Not even mind like the fact that he plays for Manchester City, just any footballer in the world who is averaging statistics like that is insane. So definitely a player I would be looking to kind of have on my radar for game week 24 wildcard, obviously going into game week 25. I think it's just a really good asset to go and get in your team, even if he only plays 30 minutes potentially in the game against Brentford. I still think he's a really good pick to go and get. Sets you up as well nicely. I think he'll be the most captain player in game week 24 and game week 25. A lot of people will be triple captaining him as well in game week 25. So if you do want to use that chip, Erling Haaland is the man to go and get. Moving on to our next forward, it is going to be another doubler. It is Ivan Toney. Now, Wolves away the next fixture. Again, I don't really know how to predict that game. Could go either way. Ivan Toney, since his return, he's been amongst the goals, hasn't he? Scored against Forest, then got himself a goal against Spurs as well, picking up some assists as well along the way. They do have that double game week. Obviously, a game in game week 26 as well, and a game in game week 29, which could be huge for this team. Obviously, potentially, the way that this team is shaping up, you are probably going to have to play a free hit chip in game week 26 with all the assets that you've got. Obviously, the likes of triple Liverpool, a Spurs player in there, you're probably more than likely going to have to play the free hit chip. But like I said, this wildcard is all about maximising that game week 25 double game week and getting the best that you can out of it. But yeah, Ivan Toney, like I said, really good since his return, scoring some goals, picking up assists, obviously got the double as well, and some positive fixtures around that. And the man just knows how to bag goals, doesn't he? Great penalty taker as well. So definitely a player I would be considering having in my team. Right, finishing up our lineup, we are going to have, of course, well, not of course, but it's a little bit of a kind of one. It is Darwin Núñez. Obviously picked up an injury, walked off in a boot after Liverpool's last performance, is currently on the bench for that Arsenal game. So I think that is encouraging signs. I think he should be fit and available at least for game week 24, maybe, potentially game week 25. We'll have to see if he comes off the bench and any comments that Jurgen Klopp potentially has to make there. But for me, I think he would be a player that I would want to have on. The per 90 data that he's putting up, I think it is like 1.15 expected goal involvement. Absolutely ridiculous. He just needs to find his finishing boots at some times. I know he can be a huge troll, but for me, he is due at some point an absolute mega haul. At some point, there is going to be a Darwin Núñez mega haul. Maybe it's going to be in this double game week. Fingers crossed. Let's see what happens. But he would be a striker I would be considering in my team. Right, let's finish up. Let's take a look at the bench. Obviously, we spoke about Areola. Pedro Neto picked up an assist today, and Wolves' fixtures aren't too bad. Brentford, Tottenham, and then if you don't want a free hit in game week 26, they do take on Sheffield United, Newcastle after that, and then Fulham and Bournemouth as well. So some positive fixtures kicking around for Pedro Neto. In terms of defenders, we've gone for two cheap options. We'll start with Branthwaite first. 8 points for him this week. Been a very consistent 4.1 million defender. Again, some positive fixtures kicking around. Does have a game in game week 26 as well. So if you didn't want to use that free hit chip, or you've already used it, you could very easily play him in that one. So a player that will come in and out of your team, but most weeks be sat on your bench. Finishing up as well, the final player is going to be Van Heck. Brighton still do have some really, really good fixtures. After Tottenham in game week 24, it's Sheffield United, Everton, Fulham and Nottingham Forest. Everton being in game week 26 as well. So again, another positive fixture that you can go and get your players in for that blank game week. Let me know what you think about this wildcard for game week 24. Have I got the right players in here? Is there anyone I missed? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have got any questions about your team, get them in there as well. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck this game week.